Of Lake Kristi. This is Overton's testing facility here just outside of Greenville, North Carolina, site of the 97 John Deere U.S. Open Water Ski Championships. We are underway. This is the men's slalom competition, the finals of the Pepsi men's slalom competition. Drew Ross is on the water.
Men's slalom event, these are the race car drivers of the sport. Just how fast can I bring this stock car slash ski into the buoy and not spin out? 6'4" tall Canadian. He can make some buoys getting horizontal at short line slalom. All six, they'll stop the boat and shorten the rope.
Drew Ross, 27 years old, now living in Florida, but originally out of Canada, as you said, Wayne.
This is all about accelerating away from the buoy, trying to slam on the brakes, get the ski to slow down, execute a radical extreme turn, and then back across to the next buoy. All happening, each turn 2.54 seconds apart from each other.
Well, Drew has a best performance of two buoys at 41 off. This is 39.5 off right now and having trouble, Wayne.
Well, he really did. He made a few slight mistakes at the start of the run. When the rope is 2 feet shorter than the width of the course, you can't afford too many mistakes. Fast and narrow into number 2, breaks at the waist, slides the ski, and then goes way down course. And 3 is all he's going to get.
Just a sneak peek of what we have ahead for you here at the John Deere 97 U.S. Open Water Ski and Wakeboarding Championships. Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is a beautiful day, hot outside, hot competition on the water. Dan Debenham along with Wayne Grimdich. Now, we're going to see 4 very distinct, different types of competition, and they use 4 different pieces of equipment.
The competition is radically different, so is the equipment. Let's take a quick look at it. Heather, of course, is not part of the equipment today. She's just helping us out. First off, the most complex ski on the water this afternoon is the slalom ski. It is the Formula One car. Excessive speed, extreme turns, buckle up. Next, the trick ski, built for maneuverability. It's like running across the ice without skates, trying to find some traction. You got to be agile to handle this. Watch your step. Next, the jump ski, long distance jumpers. They're long, they're built for speed and lift. The downhill racers of water skiing strap these babies on with one objective: pure distance. And finally, well, this is the wakeboard, X Generations event, the most rapidly growing in the industry. You can do just about anything on these, from a fakie to a speedball. So Dan, take your pick.
A fakie to a speedball,
exactly.
Huh? Yeah, thanks again, Heather. Hey, listen, it doesn't matter, though, how good the equipment is, how different it is. If you don't have the talent, you're not going to get it done. And we have the best in the world here today. This is the 97 John Deere U.S. Open Water Ski and Wakeboarding Championships. So the 97 John Deere U.S. Open Water Ski and Wakeboard Championships are underway. The men's slalom competition is hot here on Lake Kristi. Andy Mapple, the best in the business, the world record holder. He's 35 years old, and he never seems to slow down, Wayne.
Hasn't lost but one event this season out of 6 stops. He's really come back big in 1997. 37 feet of rope here, where the buoys sit 37.5 feet from the center line of the course, and he cruises right through all 6.
He is so smooth. Trains in Orlando, Florida. That's where he lives now. Of course, born in England. Ironic when you consider this is the U.S. Open, and he is the man to beat.
Bear in mind, he's won 9 Masters titles and 6 U.S. Opens. Still, he's feeling a little pressure. He'd like to do well because he is sponsored by Overton's.
Yeah, Parker's over there on the shoreline watching this man right now and probably got a smile on his face as he has completed 39.5 off. He'll be going into the world record length now of 41 off.
Just a monstrous turn out of number 4. He's bending over there. I don't know if he's feeling a little pain or just relief from making this run. Coming into his onside, big slam dunk turn there, breaks at the waist, but he's backing away from the boat and somehow slows his ski down from traveling about 65 miles across the wake and hangs on to a little slack and moves on to the world record rope length.
Well, he owns the world record. 4.5 buoys right here. He has one.
Waiting for number one, and you could just see he barely got to the outside. Only gets one buoy. That'll put significant pressure on the rest of the field. Gates are so important. The right angle and mixture of speed will get you wide and early. Right there, a little fast and narrow to one, and he couldn't negotiate the turn.
Next up in the Pepsi Slalom Challenge, Carl Roberge. The mark to beat is 1:41 off. The 1997 John Deere U.S. Open Water Ski and Wakeboard Championships are being brought to you by John Deere. Nothing runs like a Deere. And by Pepsi. Generation Next. This is the 5-time U.S. Open Slalom champion, Carl Roberge.
Masters and U.S. Open overall champion as well. He can get it done on any kind of ski. Running a little behind here, but comes into his onside, gets pulled out a touch, but really nice pull into number 5. Oh, and he gets on the tip of the ski, stops it, and that finishes his run.
You could hear the crowd moan as well as Carl Roberge just couldn't get that last buoy under his belt.
Solid turn right here, pulls it in. Very strong, powerful skier, athletic, moving around the ski, and just never gets his weight back for the acceleration phase.
If there is one skier that can push Andy Mapple, in fact win any contest that he enters, it's Wade Cox, the man on the water now.
Winner of the Masters the last couple of years, the Pro Tour champion as well, but so far this year he has only won one title in slalom. But after that run, you get a good idea of his ability on the course. Quick turns on both sides, very smooth transitions, a la Andy Mapple. He's a lean guy, but I tell you, he is powerful.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 170 pounds, but he has a lot of strength in those arms and legs.
Strength, experience, confidence is what's done the trick for him in the last couple of years. Now 39.5 off, needs all 6 buoys here. Slingshotting 180 degrees from side to side. Beautiful, smooth, excellent. Man, is he looking terrific. Comes in, oh, and he lets up a little bit on number 5, and he's just, oh, hits 6.
5.5 buoys, a half buoy shy of getting a shot at Andy Mapple.
You could not run a smoother 39.5 off, but the defending champion makes a slight error, and that finishes him.
This is Jeff Rodgers, and one of the things I like about this 30-year-old out of South Carolina is his really humble past. He is a well driller by occupation, water skier by rights.
Well, you can see he's moving around the ski quite a bit. He's a very dynamic, somewhat unpredictable slalom skier, but he can run some buoys. His personal best is just a half a buoy off Andy Mapple's world record.
His personal best here in the U.S. Open is 3rd place back in 1994.
Hasn't won a major to date, although he has won a tour stop.
He is our final competitor on the water, Jeff Rodgers. He needs to get through this 39.5 off pass to have a shot at our leader, Andy Mapple.
Nice start so far, running it very well. Comes into number 4, is offside. Oh, and he bobbles up there. He has to pull long into 5, and that's not going to do it.
4 buoys at 39.5 off. He looks so smooth. One small mistake on the part of Jeff Rodgers, and his aspirations as slalom champion evaporate, and that means that Andy Mapple's our winner, and he's standing by with Wayne.
Just tell the folks at home how tough it is to get to 1 at 41.
It is tough, you know, and I felt like I got a great gate. I came in planning my goal was to get to 2, and I came in with that goal, and I got out there at 1, and I can remember thinking that, you know, okay, go turn it, and then I felt myself breaking forward, and I thought, nah, 1 buoy's better than a half buoy.
Well, you had just enough margin. Congratulations.
Thanks, Wayne. Appreciate it.
Andy Mapple's resume continues to grow as he is our champion here in the slalom competition. Wade Cox finished in 2nd place, and when we come back, the women take to the water next.
In a water ski competition like we have today here at the U.S. Open, there's a lot of decision making. The skier has to make a decision, the drivers have to make a decision, and even the engines make a decision. Now the Inmar electronic fuel injected engine is capable of that decision. We have an ECM, or electronic control module. What it does, it takes the manifold pressure, the fuel consumption, the temperature, and feeds it into an onboard computer. That way, we have the instant response time. We have the power when we need it. So, the combination of skier, driver, and the Inmar Marine engine might just result in some world records today.
Welcome back to Lake Kristi, site of the 1997 John Deere U.S. Open Championships. And the more you see sporting events around, the more you are seeing John Deere associated with them. We had a chance to talk with Mark Scherritz about that fact.
Well, we think it makes a lot of sense, Dan. We've been involved in NASCAR for the last couple of years. We've been involved with the PGA co-marketing this past year, and those customers are our customers, and we took a good hard look at this industry and the water sports enthusiasts, and those people are our customers as well. This is a first-class organization, the Overton's organization, the American Water Ski Association, and we're just very proud to be partners with them in this endeavor.
As you take a look at the lineup here for the Pepsi Slalom Challenge, noticeably absent is our defending champion, and that is Kristi Overton, who is in the hospital right now.
Suffering from complications from an appendectomy. She's doing better, and we're hoping to see her back on the course shortly.
Karen Truelove is who is first out on the water, just 23 years old, looking to make an impression in her first final competition at the U.S. Open.
She did place 4th in the last tour stop in Austin, Texas, but this is her first look at the big show here.
She's been competing since she was 5 years old.
Now the women will be running the same course as the men, 3 buoys on each side. The rope increments or shortening increments are the same. The only difference, the boat speed. 2 miles an hour slower than the men, the boats traveling at constant speed at 34 miles per hour.
38 off now. She lists her hobbies as basketball, hoping to slam dunk this one.
Barely inside of number 3. That actually ties her personal best, 2 buoys at a 37-foot rope. Karen had a slow turn coming out of 1, and when that happens, you compensate with a longer pull into the next buoy, but that means you have more speed. And when you're traveling faster, it's very difficult to turn the ski.
Next on the water is Helena Kjellander from Sweden, now living in Florida.
Gets her shoulders back and away from the boat. That's important on the pulling position through the wakes here around number 3. Snaps it in a little longer into 4. Nicely done, but running late here into number 5. Pulls it in, and she's going to have to fight for 6. Way inside. That is a huge surprise. This is normally a routine run for her. Maybe just a little casual around 5 ball.
And I'm sure well aware, Wayne, that she has lost any opportunity of picking up that $5,000 first prize check. So the door has been left open for Emma Shears from Australia, 22 years old, finished 4th in last year's U.S. Open slalom competition.
And she won the jumping competition, so do you think she likes this site? I would say yes. Our current leader is Karen Truelove with 2 buoys at 38 off. That was Emma running 35 off, quite easily, I might add. A strong, powerful skier, whether on the jump course or the slalom course, grabs the handle. Great pulling position, changes edges, never on a flat ski. Turning and pulling are the basics of slalom, and she executed that superbly.
So Shears now has an excellent opportunity to grab the lead here in the 38 off pass. She needs to get any part of 3 to overtake first place.
Looking pretty good right here, pulling long to number 3, and she gets on the front of the ski. Oh boy, it's too bad because she's coming into number 3 pretty well. Maybe stopped her pull a little soon. This is her offside, left foot forward skier, pulls long, switches edges. This is the deceleration or the pre-turn, and then she was narrow and then just collapses everything onto the front of the ski and kicks it out.
Susi Graham waiting and wondering, will she be the next Pepsi Slalom champion? We'll find out when we come back. High above Lake Kristi, Overton's testing facility just outside of Greenville, North Carolina, I had an opportunity to talk with Parker Overton about his commitment to this sport.
Water skiing needs somebody to help and put it on a professional level. And I tell my people, you know, everything that we have came from somebody else. And you have to give in order to get. We give back to the sport because it's been good to us.
Parker Overton, one of the good ones. Speaking of good, how about Susi Graham, originally from Canada, now living in Central Florida.
Has a very strong grip on the handle. Notice it's a baseball grip. typical of slalom skiers, short line slalom skiers. Easily done, all 6 buoys, excellent technique as well as strength through the wakes for Susi Graham.
We've talked before, Wayne, about how she really isn't tight, if you will, as she makes the turns, and yet she does it so easily.
Well, it's a combination of the pulls and the turns, so if you're a little slow around the buoy, you can make up for it through the wakes. And now the pass that counts so much. She needs all of 3 buoys to move into the lead. Number 1, nice job there. Strong, powerful turn on number 2 and gets around 3, just waiting and wide for number 3 and 4. Oh, and she pops the handle around number 4, traveling so well up to that point. Coming into number 3, slows the ski down by getting forward on it. And here it gets a little bit of a high handle pull, and that delays her turn and comes a little bit slower. Well, actually comes a little faster than I thought in number 4.
Just lost the handle. So Jennifer Leachman is our final competitor out here in the Pepsi Slalom Challenge. 6 foot tall, she'll use every bit of that height to help her.
A 2-time world record holder who is a Pro Tour slalom champion overall for 1991, but recently she's been having a little difficulty getting it done on Sunday. Now the pressure is really on because she knows exactly what she has to do. She's well capable of running buoys into the 41 off rope length, but can she do it now at the moment?
Well, the mark to beat is that of Susi Graham's 3.5 buoys at 38 off. Jennifer Leachman, 33 years old, born in West Virginia, now resides in Orlando, Florida.
Like Helena Kjellander, she's a left foot forward skier who turns remarkably well on her offside. Buoy number 2 right there comes into her onside. She gets further forward on the ski here, works her knees, very flexible there. Gets around number 5. Oh, big slow turn on number 5, and she's not going to make it to 6, regardless of her height and reach. And that finishes it, which makes Susi Graham our champion.
For the 5th time, Susi Graham is indeed the U.S. Open Slalom Champion.
Dan and I both speculated this is going to have to be a very strange weekend for most of the women, and particularly you since you're very close to Kristi. And today I know you'd like to be just rejoicing the victory, but I figured the thoughts were going to be out there for you on the water of her. How did you refocus yourself once you're out on the water?
Well, it's funny because the Kristi was actually coaching me a little bit at the beginning of this week with the big problem I was having through the gates, and so I told her yesterday when I went to the hospital too, I said, you know, I just couldn't stop thinking about you out there, but it was a good thing because I kept thinking about what you told me to do, and it really paid off. You know, I had great gates every time. It was great.
Sensational effort.
So let's just say this one's for Kristi because she couldn't be here.
Congratulations again.
Thanks.
So Susi Graham finishes in first, followed by Emma Shears, Karen Truelove, Jennifer Leachman, and Helena Kjellander. And when we come back, it's the finals of the SeaDoo Wakeboard Challenge here at the 97 John Deere U.S. Open Water Ski and Wakeboard Championships. Back at the 97 John Deere U.S. Open, just outside of Greenville, North Carolina, we are set for the SeaDoo Wakeboarding Challenge. The best riders in the world have gathered here at Lake Kristi to strut their stuff. We begin with 21-year-old Gregg Necrason.
All right, here's the format for these guys. 2 25-second passes to just knock out the crowd or themselves, performing wake tricks and air tricks. That's a whirlybird right there. And the really spectacular trick is the one he's got coming up to finish the run, the first pass, the air rally. Huge flying board over the top of his head. A spectacular finish. This is the whirlybird. 360-degree back flipping trick. Just barely gets enough clearance there, but he gets plenty of air. And the judges are looking for this because style is part of this whole format. It's broken down into 3 components: execution, intensity, and composition.
9,200 points. There are 3 judges on the shore, we should point out, who are awarding the points.
Once again, 5 tricks per pass. He's going into a backside crip right now. They call it that because if you fall, you get crippled.
You're cripped, man.
And then the last 2 tricks are tantrums. This is going to be a backside tantrum, which is where he throws his head back, ski over the top. And now the half cab tantrum, a little variation with a slight turn. And this guy has 2 solid stand-up runs.
Yeah, many of the tricks that they perform in the landings especially are blind. They can't see the water. They have to feel it.
Got to have a sensation of the overall body movement. 18,707. This kid was lean, quick, and agile on the course. Deceptive speed, and that's a mark for the rest of the field.
Well, we go from the relative obscurity, really, of Gregg Necrason to one of the crafty veterans, Dean Lavelle, all 26 years old. But in this sport, that means you're a veteran.
Dean has submitted the highest valued point run to the judges today, looking for 7,000, over 7,000 in point value as he finishes the Vulcan. That was the trick invented by Parks Bonifay.
May you live long and prosper.
And his fourth trick's going to be the Whirly Bird. Oh, that is so cool. Gets more clearance than we saw from Gregg Necrason. An outstanding, awesome run for Dean Lavelle, scoring 73.25 just on the tricks alone.
Hey, he'll get style points on top of that. Now, Dean Lavelle, as we talked about, the veteran out here on the water, check out the hat that he's wearing. Does this guy know who butters his bread or what? That's a big green and yellow John Deere hat. He knows who the corporate sponsor is here. Dean Lavelle, they call him Clean Dean, Wayne, because really he lands everything and is so clean in his pass.
And I think you're going to see that on this next one right here, the big front flip. Ought to see some altitude right there. And there's where you're talking about that body awareness, because that is a blind landing. Lavelle having a great day there, vaulting. These boards have got so much surface area that allows them to do the air tricks and then just these giant, mammoth, colossal double wake tricks. Frontside railing more difficult to do than the backside because of the angle of the legs and the hips position at takeoff, and then he ends for the S-bend and one of the most fantastic runs we've seen to date.
I can guarantee you, Wayne, the rest of the competitors watching on shore are a little concerned right now as we take a look at some of the very clean tricks that Dean performed out there on the water and racking up a total of 20,908 points. That is going to be a tough mark to beat.
Well, this is not improvisation out here, folks. They have to submit these attack sheets to the judges and stick by them, and his attack sheet had the highest point value tricks of any of the competitors. So Darin Shapiro, as well as Jeremy Kovak, they're looking for big scores in the style category, and you look at the momentum and the speed that Shapiro carries. 5'4", he is like a spark plug out there. Gets more vertical and perhaps better extension than the rest of the guys in the field.
Well, he certainly has more wins under his belt. He is the most decorated wakeboarder in the world to date at only 24 years old.
Coming off injury last year, he has really surged back into the forefront. And just take a look, the second pass coming up, the type of speed and continuity. First, we're going to get a replay of his opening run. You can see that extension. He gets his legs straight and his arms, and it's just like a rock at the end of the rope.
Yeah, he just coils and then springs off that wake. As you mentioned his compact body. He's 5'4", but he's 145 pounds. He is strong.
Watch the flow as I get him back to you. This is where the style points are going to come in very big. A switch stance Vulcan coming up here, but the judges are also looking at speed, momentum, height, intensity, execution, and how. Does it get any more perfect than that? The flow from trick to trick is very important, and there, the speed, and now the air trick. You know, they just hook the edge of the board, pop off the legs, and execute the air trick so easily. He's going to end with a hoochie glide.
Once again, the height is just incredible. Darin Shapiro hoping that this is enough to overtake Dean Lavelle. Now, that was for the crowd. But what do the judges think? 20,908 points is the mark to beat. Do you think he got it, Wayne?
Well, his style points were much better than Dean Lavelle's, but unfortunately the degree of difficulty was not, and he ends up short.
20,430 points will not be enough to overtake Dean Lavelle. Darin Shapiro finished in second place last year in this competition. Is he relegated to that again? We'll find out when we continue with more wakeboarding next. We are getting huge air here in Greenville, North Carolina. The folks at SeaDoo pretty proud of their product, and rightfully so.
Dan, I think it's just the company's heritage of performance. We want everybody to have fun on the water. We really work hard to put the fun factor in the boat. So when you're out there, you don't have to worry about anything except having fun.
The fun factor. I like that term, the fun factor. You know, in the history of boating, though, water sports, Peterson Watercraft, they're babies. I mean, how long have you guys been around? And I mean, where did you come up with a concept like this? It looks like it belongs in Batman and Robin.
Well, the SeaDoo's been around for 10 years. It's our 10th anniversary this season. Actually, we came up with the idea about 30 years ago, built it for a few years. It didn't seem to go over big, but in the last decade, it's just come on like gangbusters.
I just figured out what this reminds me of. The light cycle from Tron. Remember that movie where you're like, you know?
That's right. That's about the time we were first coming out with SeaDoo.
Well, look into the future in this sport, and you're looking at Shaun Murray, 21 years of age from Windermere, Florida. And I think my partner's back still revved up, aren't you now, for the event?
Murray finished 10th in the 96 World Championships and then finished in 6th place in the 96 X Games. So this guy is definitely one of the best riders in the world.
And now he's coming back with a tantrum to fakie. This is where he throws himself back. A little half turn as he lands fakie and finishes with the Tweety Bird. An air whirly bird right here, 360 degrees with a flip and just barely enough air to slide the board down underneath him.
Yeah, the difficult part there, Wayne, is he's not using the weight to get any momentum.
This is the Hoochie Glide, the fakie. Nice, you can see how much distance he's getting there. And now throwing the board, springing at the same time, a back flip with a 360, not letting go with the hand. One-handed.
That's a Tweety Bird, you
That's
said?
a Tweety Bird, which is an air whirly bird.
This
is the whirly bird, the weight version of the same trick.
Yes.
Excellent. Oh, and he loses the handle.
He got too much air, and he over-rotated, and he lost the handle.
Got to keep the rope close to control the body movement. He just gets a little stretch and couldn't get the free hand on right here. Launch, what a great spring and rotation at the same time. Couldn't get the right hand on the handle.
Over-rotated, did a sits mark right there on the water, lost the handle, and thereby loses any chance of first place. From north of the border, this is Jeremy Kovak, 24 years old, lives in Ontario, Canada, and terrorizes all the riders here in the States.
He has not submitted as strong a run as Darin or Dean, so he's looking for the style points here, the execution, the intensity. He is one of the strongest skiers out there, well known for his Mobius. Coming up now, this is a flipping and full twisting, the best guy in the business, excellent. Great distance and height. And you notice he's got a really strong upper body like Darin because he has a traditional 3-event background, and then in recent years has switched to focus entirely on the wakeboarding.
Well, he's 6'1", 175 pounds. He uses that height and that strength to his advantage. He has a more flowing, liquid look out there, and I think he picks up more style points because of that. But does he have enough points to overtake Dean Lavelle? Well, in his first pass, he does. Dean Lavelle right now is leading with almost 21,000 points, and Jeremy Kovak is right now on the way to that type of a score.
Just an outrageous air rally right there. He's flowing well, but he's also combining speed and huge power and lift off the top of the wake. That's an air half cab roll. Now the big backside front flip. Huge altitude there. And the air Mobius, excellent, well done.
Well, Kovak is the world record holder with 21,810 points. But what about today? Enough to overtake Dean Lavelle? No, 20,421 points. And Wayne, I think you nailed the reason why here.
Well, he submitted a run with more conservative tricks and unfortunately didn't come up with the style points. Dan is now with the winner, Dean Lavelle.
Dean Lavelle with the facial hair, buddy. Haven't seen you like this for a while. Hey, 97, SeaDoo US Open Wakeboard Champion. How's that sound?
It sounds really good. Yeah, I'm still clean, Dean. I just, I'm finally growing a little facial hair, and it went really good. I had a good time riding behind the SeaDoo boat, and it was a lot better than I expected, and I just was able to stay on my run, so it was a lot of fun.
Speaking of your nickname, Clean Dean Lavelle, was that the key to the run, though, that it was clean?
Yes, that's one thing. I've been really trying to make my runs even cleaner than before because I realize that style is a big part, and we need to make them clean to surpass. I mean, when you have Jeremy Kovak and Darin and myself, all of our points within like 100 points away, raw points, its style is going to make the difference.
Well, Dean Lavelle picks up $5 grand for first place, followed by Darin Shapiro, Jeremy Kovak, Gregg Necrason, and Shaun Murray. Time for us to take a break, but when we come back, it's the Overton's Jump Challenge next. The action continues here at Lake Kristi. This is the 97 John Deere U.S. Open Water Ski Championships. And Wayne, I think we have the best seat in the house high above Lake Kristi.
Absolutely the most unique seat. We're the only two individuals hovering above the ground in a John Deere Gator. Now, the key to this is that the first man or woman who sets a world mark in any event will sail home in one of these.
I did not know that this sailed.
Absolutely.
One Gator you don't mind having near the water, right?
Truly.
Also, listen to this. 25 grand goes to the first man or woman that breaks a world record in men's or women's slalom or jump. Something to shoot for. Let's get back to it. Cygnus Ski Safe are the folks putting up that money, that potential purse. North Carolina's own April Coble, born in Angier, now living in Lillington. And not only does she have the hometown crowd that she needs to please, but keep in mind that the state's sports development group is partially responsible for bringing the U.S. Open to North Carolina, so she has got to come up big.
Outstanding leap.
A 146 vaults April Coble into first place. How appropriate that North Carolina, known as first in flight, and April Coble flies her way into first place.
Fantastic turn, cut, standing up, was earlier that time with the pre-jump, and then kicked off a wonderful leap.
A 146, that's the mark to beat. Brenda Baldwin, a North Carolina native now living in Florida, has a world record best of 166 on the 5.5-foot ramp, so she is certainly capable of overtaking our leader.
First jump, trying to be aggressive, but not too aggressive. Make sure you get on the ramp. The left ski gets up, she gets on her right heel, sets her back, and when you hit an inclined surface and you're already sitting back, you can't get forward to get a spring. But that jump, just 1 foot shy of our leader, April Coble, wasn't too bad. Most of the distance as a result of speed to the base of the ramp. You can see wicked crush at the top, so she'll try to make that adjustment.
Brenda Baldwin now preparing for her second jump.
Waiting a little later now. Can she keep the skis down? She does a better job, but still sitting a little bit back. When the skiers are trying to generate speed to the ramp, it's very difficult to achieve the springing position when you're digging so hard. And she ends up on the back of her skis once again.
And she ends up right now in second place with a 145, 1 foot shy of our leader, April Coble. And now the Australian comes to the forefront. This is Emma Shears.
The defending champion here last year at the U.S. Open, her first major victory aside from the Mumba Masters. She is very strong, powerful, aggressive to the base of the ramp, flying the wakes and really extends, although the skis split a little bit, not her full spring.
And it cost her. A 140 is the best she can come up with on this first jump.
Learning to jump in the outback, watching those kangaroos has sent her sailing. Loving this event. She is the world record holder at the 5-foot ramp with a leap of 159 feet. That mark still holds because the women are still allowed to jump at 5 foot, although here they've all chosen to go off the 5.5. Now what does she do? Wait a little later, I suspect. Try to really dig in, build speed to the base of the ramp, rock forward, stand up, and oh, she split, but boy, she was carrying some speed. Oh, and she tumbles in, doesn't ski away. That'll be the fall.
That'll be a scratch. And so Emma Shears comes up just a bit shy of our leader as well. Everybody dropping just shy of our leader, April Coble.
With a leap of 147, but in these conditions, I'm not sure that's going to hold up. The wind is perfect, the water is very smooth, and that's important that it is smooth at the base of the ramp, so the skis aren't chattering around a lot as they're trying to stand up and resist the impact of the jump.
So one more shot at it. Emma Shears, this will be her third and final jump.
And this is the beauty of jumping. You get 3 rips at the ramp. The longest one counts. It's not like slalom where it's sudden death. Here, almost 180-degree swing. She'll swing out to the driver, but the jumpers will turn at about 20 miles an hour, maybe even a little less. They'll drift back towards the wake and now bear down. Look at the bottom of the ramp, stand up. Oh, that was an excellent spring that time. Carried a lot of speed into the base of the ramp, and there you have it.
A 151 Emma Shears with one snap at the ramp.
Despite flying the wakes again, she gets settled in and hits it. Stands up just at the right instant. You can see her knees barely flexed, but an inch. Reacted and sailed.
Emma Shears takes over first place with one skier remaining, and that is Toni Neville.
one of the best jumpers we saw last season. She won the Masters jumping title. She's better known for her slalom, but really has come on strong. And I think you're looking at the best two-event skier in the world right now. Great turn, edging well, good extension. At 5'11", she does not have the ideal body type for jumping. You usually see the shorter skiers doing well here, but she has great technique. And I suppose her husband, Bruce Neville, who's a pretty good jumper, helped her with that.
Yeah, he's a pretty good jumper in his own right.
Happens to be the world record holder at 220 feet. But she has really collected her body. I used to say she was Spider-Woman about 2 or 3 years ago because she's got these long arms and hands coming to the jump, and she's got it now all connected. Here we go. Sailing to the 5.5 foot off, and boy, the excellent spring pulled her right up over the tips of her skis.
But not enough. 144. Not enough to overtake first place Emma Shears. As we take a last look at Toni Neville, our congratulations goes out to Emma. Her first U.S. Open jumping championship. And when we come back, the Overton's Jump Challenge continues with the men. The 97 John Deere U.S. Open continues here on Lake Kristi, just outside of Greenville, North Carolina. Here's a look at the Overton's Jump Challenge. The lineup begins with Steffen Wild, and you can see, Wayne, that the site has changed a little bit. We had a huge wind and thunderstorm come rolling through here about 10 minutes ago, but we are ready to roll. Steffen Wild coming all the way from Germany.
And what a flight off the first leap by the 6-foot ramp. The ramp height now has moved up about 1.5 degrees, 6 feet at the lip, 21.5 feet long. And Steffen just gets a good start transition. And you'll notice not much of a body change here. He just stands up very simply and gets almost a full extension and a beautiful float at the end of a 200, and I believe it was about 208 feet, wasn't it?
Well, that's very close to his personal best. He has gone 211 feet.
This is the countercut. This sends the skiers wide for their final move to the ramp. Now, if you look at the relationship between Steffen and the buoys or the signs there, you get an idea that he is waiting later now, pulling across both wakes, trying to dig in hard, and a wicked crush on that one. Stood up just a little bit too late, could not resist the impact of the ramp. Bear in mind, when they're hitting the ramp at 65 or 70 miles an hour, their lower body experiences 10 to 20 G's of force upon impact and can make for very sore ankles and knees later in life. Unfortunately, right there, a little late. You'll note that all the skiers are using an arm sling. That's a strap that their arm goes through their right arm that helps them hold the handle in at the base of the ramp, but also at the top of the ramp. When they get a big spring, the boat tends to pull them forward. Final jump for the first skier on the water, Steffen Wild. Easier cut, trying to work the ramp, and he does a nice job out of sight. But his body language looks like he's not happy with that, but 209 feet, just 2 feet shy of his personal best.
Well, Wayne, I think he might be thinking about the rest of the crowd that is still to come. The top jumpers in the world all went over 204 to qualify. He probably thinks his 209 won't hold up.
Well, it's an excellent point. The conditions are really smooth here. The shoreline isn't kicking back any backwash. Excellent conditions, and he was hoping to get in a little bit further, submit a jump a little bit further than that to put some pressure on the remaining field.
Of which John Swanson is up next. Out of Everett, Washington, attending law school right now. Speaking of law school, you know, Kristi Overton just graduated from law school. John wanting to be a lawyer by day and a jumper by night, but disappointment there as he goes 204. You know, he told me, Wayne, during practice sessions, he is regularly going over the 220 mark.
Well, I can understand that after seeing this kind of spring. Always had very lively legs, just needed a little more speed that time.
Up next, Jimmy Clunie. They call him the Canadian Cannonball. Can he shoot for first when we come back? The 1997 John Deere U.S. Open Water Ski and Wakeboarding Championships are being brought to you by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. And by SeaDoo. Everybody's doing it. SeaDoo. And back to the Overton's Jump Challenge. Jimmy Clunie coming all the way down from Canada. Looking to shoot himself right out over that ramp. Rather appropriate because they call him the Canadian Cannonball because he's so compact.
Boy, does he get a nice lift off that first jump, though. Sails it in. Yeah, it was strong, Jim. 208 feet on an opener. A little bit earlier than the rest of the crowd. Now, he doesn't have to move very far to standing straight up and down. I mean, he is low to the ground. I mean, that's a benefit for guys with short legs, and don't I know it.
He's 5'4", 165 pounds. He's got a lot of power, and as we said, using those legs, which are so important in jumping.
Strong legs to be able to control these long jumpers, about 80-plus, 85-inch jumpers. Guys are using the square tips, give them more aerodynamics in the air. They can afford to be a little further forward when they hit the ramp and go for that spring. He's sitting back on that one, however. With those tips, you can push the limits a little bit. Gosh, another outstanding. That was deceptive.
He's very
Where did
consistent.
That come from?
He's very consistent.
Holy mackerel.
208 and 208, one more jump. Now all he needs is anything over 209, and he'll take over first place from Steffen Wild. Wayne, what do you see there?
Yeah, he really missed his spring. He carried a lot of deceptive speed into the base of that ramp that time. Getting back to the jumpers and how they actually save the skier if they're a little further forward on the spring. Once they come off the top of the ramp, the air hits the increased surface area of the skis and lifts the skis up.
Helps them sail, if you will.
Yeah, along with saving them from going out the front.
Clunie, one last time. Look at the determination in his face. He knew.
Forget that one. I don't like that one.
Yeah, he knew right away. Doggone it. 1 foot away from overtaking the lead from Steffen Wild. Must be disappointing for Jimmy Clunie.
Well, the consolation, of course, 2 consecutive jumps of 208 feet. Very consistent jumping from Jim. That's got to build his confidence down the road.
Clunie saying, yeah, that one just, hi, folks, and goodbye. A 195. The third jump is not a very good one for Jimmy Clunie, but he's got one in the books at 208. He is currently in second place. Carl Roberge is our final jumper of the day. Now, this guy is big and strong, and he usually can get that timing just right. He has dominated the jumping scene for the last couple of years.
Did not lose in 1996. Great extension. Beautiful opening jump, Roberge. I don't know what he's looking back at, but he's got to be happy with that. 205 feet.
Roberge, as we talked, he's big and strong. He's 6'1", 6'2", about 200 pounds. Boy, he just launches himself off there.
And he has been the chief beneficiary of these long skis. The 85-inch skis gives him more surface area. I think it really holds up that big frame, makes it easier for the boat driver. And then Carl, in turn, gets a pretty good turn at the start. The boat driver can hold him easier. And this is what it's all about, the move to the ramp. Roberge, continuous rotation, digging in hard, eyeing the base, standing up. Ooh, a little late.
Slipped out.
A little late, couldn't get the knees back straight again, 197. Now he's got something to look back at and shake his head. Look how late he's waiting, though. Past the Cafe de Colombia buoy, way past it. That's the latest we've seen, and he does carry the most speed to the base of the ramp than anybody. Consistently 67, 68, 70 miles an hour for Roberge.
So one final jump, one last jump with the final competitor. Can he go further than 209?
The big question is, does he go for the hard cut or the spring? And he's going for the cut right here, really bearing down. Oh, and an upper body crush. He decided he wanted. Yeah, he decided he wanted a lot of speed on that one.
Shook that left fist. He was really disappointed.
This is the latest cut we've seen all day. And actually, he gets his weight forward right here. But just a touch late, perhaps, or maybe a little early. It's hard to tell, even at slow motion.
Let's recap some of the other events taking place here at the U.S. Open, specifically the tricks competition, where Rhoni Barton was in a battle with Britt Larsen. This is Ms. Barton, who is originally from Torrance, California, now living and training in Central Florida. This is Rhoni's second pass. Each competitor gets 2 passes, each 20 seconds long. Her first pass, 2,680 points, trying to rack it up here in the second run. 3,160 points total for a 2-run pass of 5,840 points. All right, this is Britt Larsen, and she's just going to put it in cruise control for her second pass. Britt Larsen, of course, with her twin sister, Toni Larsen, dominates this sport. Britt has never won the U.S. Open tricks competition, though, placing second in both '93 and back in 1992 to her twin sister. But the second pass was enough to give her a two-pass total of 6,700 points, and so Britt Larsen is our champion. All right, let's turn our attention to the men, where Patrice Martin, probably the best all-around skier in the history of this sport when it comes to all three events, tricks, slalom, and jump. His first pass was worth 5,000 points. Needing a clean, strong second pass, the man originally out of France, now living in Central Florida, racks up 5,030 points in his second pass for a total of just over 10,000 points. Looks to the heaven as if to say thank you, but would it be enough with two more yet to come? Cory Pickos. Pickos, of course, has just owned this sport in years gone by, the 23-time world trick record holder, 33 years old. He did win the U.S. Open tricking competition back in '87, but it's been a long dry spell since then. He needed a lot of points, got enough to edge Patrice Martin, picked up almost 6,000 points in his second pass for a two-pass total of 10,760 points. Could the youngster, Kyle Peterson, take over first place from the two veterans? He had a first pass of 4,970 points, needed to pour it on in the second pass. He did just that, picking up 6,060 points. Kyle Peterson, at just 22 years of age, who finished fourth last year, is the tricks champion. We also have our overall champions, Rhoni Barton and Patrice Martin, and here's Wayne with them.
First off, let me convey my congratulations to two of the hardest working skiers in the sport. Congratulations. Patrice, you'll have to wait because I'm going to talk to the pretty one first, okay? Rhoni, terrific effort. I mean, you really maintained your focus this year. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I've come a long way. I'm getting a little older, and I'm getting more confident in all three events. It's making a big difference, and I'm starting to qualify in the finals in more of the events too, so it's getting fun. I'm starting to be able to contend against everybody.
I got to think this year is kind of special considering what happened last year.
Yeah, last year was a disaster, so it couldn't have gotten worse. That's just what I told myself when I got here.
Well done. Patrice, back-to-back U.S. Opens. The big question is, can anybody beat you?
Surely somebody can beat me, but
Ski touche, maybe.
Yeah. But you know, any day anybody can beat me. But first, I can beat myself. So I'm trying to be my best and do my best on the skis. And if I really ski the best, I think nobody can beat me. Like Rhoni says, I'm getting older too, and now I start to know what I'm doing.
Well, exactly. Well, you didn't look gold out there today. Congratulations once again. Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations indeed to our overall champions and those who excelled in the individual titles as well. Andy Mapple, Dean Lavelle, just a few. Steffen Wild, of course, in the men's jumping competition. Those who excelled on this day under the sun at the 1997 John Deere U.S. Open. For Wayne Grindich, I'm Dan Debenham. We'll see you next time.